Welcome in to the post-game show here with Rohan from the UDL. Live on a Saturday night. Pulling it together. First post-game appearance. Good to see you, Playmaker.
Woo!
Number 6 in the building. We'll break it all down as LSU. And, wow, look at the way this game finished in Kentucky, in Lexington. LSU rolls over McNeese. It was an ugly football game. We'll talk all about that coming up here. We love your interaction. Anywhere you can find us, YouTube, Facebook, JordyCulottaShow.com. Drinking a little vino tonight. Cheers to everybody out there. Cheers to you, Ro.
Cheers.
Lizzie is here.
Gentlemen.
Good to see you. Lloyd was out at LSU today.
In the building.
Ro, immediate thoughts. Just give me your first immediate.
Boring.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Is there a quarterback controversy?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
Does it matter?
If we would have not won the football game, or it would have been closer, or nail biter, or something like that, we got a kid, man, that's a young kid that hasn't played a lot of games. So what you want to do? Put another kid in there that's a young kid that ain't played a lot of games?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Regardless of what it looks like it is. Liz, you said it earlier, the best person on the team is the backup quarterback.
Always.
So
that's who Louisiana loves.
That's why we fell in love with you.
You've been there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Definitely been there. But
Pregnall's not supposed to be the starter.
That's
play
my
some
guy,
baseball.
Yeah, no
That's
doubt
my
he is.
guy.
No doubt he is.
See, no, baby.
Elite 11, huh?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
What about the quarterback play? Let's just start there. Max
I
Johnson.
mean,
Ro,
didn't
put that
see
ashtray right
didn't
here.
see really much improvement out of Max this week. Still didn't see the pushing the ball down the field. And against McNeese, that's something that you would have think you would have tried some 9 routes, some post routes, some things that just especially when you have superior talent, such as we do against McNeese, the ability to throw some 9 routes and give these guys the ability, especially with the receivers that we have on the outside, the explosive guys that we do have.
God, they dropped the ball.
They drop some balls.
They dropped the ball, don't they?
Hey, but listen, you got to expect that at some point out of a young receiving group. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be perfect every week. Thank God we got the victory. Still seeing some things from the offensive line that in the run game that you would have just liked to see, more effort on the run game, a little more moving them guys off the ball, and you saw a lot of confusion still. You saw some of the things that we saw last week from UCLA, the blitzing off, overloading one side, trying to get that pressure on the young quarterback, and I think Frank and his team came in and tried to put in some similar things from UCLA, but just was overmatched.
As far as the defensive adjustments from week 1 to week 2, the popular saying around football is that you see the biggest improvement in your team between week 1 and 2. I think we could probably debate that on LSU, that you probably didn't see enough improvement that you would like to have seen probably in those weeks. But the defense at least looked like they were not confused. They were on the same page. They knew what they were doing tonight. Yeah,
you saw some simplicity. You saw, you definitely saw where they took some things out, and shortened some things, lessened some calls, didn't give them many communication to bring them along slowly in this game. And then you saw, as the game go on, you saw them open up more, and you saw a couple different packages. You saw the NASCAR package from them when they brought in the speed rushers and big Mason Smith.
Smith's got to play. How do you take him off the field?
I don't think he's just a third down pass rusher anymore, because that's what they've been using him as. But
Bro,
he is blowing up the spot.
Just put him on the nose. Let him play all night.
Yeah,
just let him disrupt.
If you look in the league, man, and just look at where the domination went, when it comes to affecting the quarterback, right? You want to affect the quarterback from the edge, but you mostly you want to affect the guy up the middle. So if the quarterbacks are stepping up in the pocket and you have a Mason Smith pushing the pocket, pushing that center back or guard, whoever it is, back into that quarterback's lap, and you also have an Anthony and a BJ and these guys coming off the edge in 11, well, now where are you going to go? You want them to throw out that black hole. So I just think that in some form or another, whether it's third down, Liz, and you know, you put him at the nose, man, and let him. There's not too many centers that's going to be able to handle Mason Smith.
No way, especially like the third series of the game. I mean, this guy's going to be here all fucking night,
bro. His push off the line, he's eating your neck immediately. He's in the backfield every time I see him.
He is enormous, man.
Right, he's a good player.
Yes, he looks the part.
Yeah, he
if
does.
nothing else. It would be scary, in my opinion, and you brought it up, and we talked a little bit about it while we were watching the game. And look, next game, I think we're going to go live in the fourth quarter with all of us here to talk, to have a kind of a watch along. Tonight, we were just kind of figuring out what we're going to do, what the format's going to be, but we will bring you that next time where we just kind of watch it with everybody in the fourth quarter. But we were talking about the potential of what the 4 defensive linemen could look like with Mason Smith and Ali Gay out there, along with B.J. Ojolari. And who was the fourth? Who am I missing? Am I missing Jaquelin Roy? Was
Anthony.
Andre Anthony, who had a hell of a night.
Lived in the backfield
Hell
tonight.
of a night. Boy, I mean, Cody Ogeron may not get out of bed until Wednesday. But a tough SOB, bro. I mean, they
he's a tough football
beat
player.
him up tonight, but he got up every play, came back for the next down, and knew he was going to get hit, and stood there and took it. I mean,
But you know what?
That was pretty good.
Even though it was a McNeese, I saw more improvement in this football game from the defensive side of the ball than I did from the offensive side of the ball.
For sure.
You know, you would have thought that we would have had an opportunity to lay that ground game down tonight against a McNeese team that's not beefy on the defensive line. We should have been able, but you know that's that. You know, there's a cause for concern along the offensive line. And last week I thought it was because they got blitzed so much in the pass game, 70% of the time. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. but when you look at the game tonight, there was glaring, and I know they shuffled. They shuffled some people in and out. But, dog, you can't have, the golden rule of football. And I know our newly acquired offensive line coach is going to get after their ass. But there's a golden rule of football is you got guys up on the line of scrimmage. The defensive line walks up on the line of scrimmage. You let the furthest man from the quarterback, that's who you step down, you protect the inside, you protect the middle. Let the furthest guy off the edge, that's who you let come free. Because, if they blitz in 7 and you only got 6-man protection, somebody's going to be free. But you don't leave that open gate up the middle of the field for them just to run through and come, and straight line to the quarterback. And that happened on too many times tonight where it was just like guys was whiffing. You're not even touching anybody, So that's the thing about it for me. That's it's not the execution. I'm stepping here and they it's a wrong step that lets them get by. It's simply we're not playing assignment football. We're not focused on what we're doing. So that's the problem for me with the offensive line right now. There was no step up. Like we said, you pointed out, the biggest improvement week 1, week 2. I think in that position we took a step back.
And as we were talking during the game, as crucial of tonight on the offensive line as it was to develop the depth and those guys get the reps on the line of scrimmage, it was in my opinion, a hit for Austin Deculus, for those guys to good.
I think that's going to happen a lot tonight.
Yeah, that'll be a
the recurring theme here.
One, we just need to keep a count. Ding. But Austin Deculus, Cam Wire, Chasen Hines to miss those reps.
Yeah,
that's a big deal because they still look confused. I mean, the third down where Max got blew up, where Xavier Hill and I forget who was playing next to him at guard. It may have been Bradford, just whiffed on a blitzing defensive lineman that nearly decapitated Max Johnson. I mean, in 2 weeks, if you make that mistake, even next week, Central Michigan. But, I mean, you start making that into the month of October, and you could get somebody seriously hurt.
Yeah, that's one of the plays that I was talking about where they whiffed and let the guy go inside and come straight in the middle. I mean, you're right. He almost folded Max in half. And, those are the things that I'm concerned about. It's not necessary. I mean, Coach Pete is going to get better as the year goes on with calling plays, and he's never done it. So But it's the assignment. It's the assignment. It's the assignment. It's picking up. It's at least going in the right direction, putting the hat on the right placement, on the right side. And that's what we're not doing. We didn't do it last week, and we definitely didn't do it this week.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you concerned a little bit with that getting to Max Johnson? Because he seems like somebody that would be unflappable, but the amount of pressure he's faced in the first 2 games, even versus McNeese, it seems like that you can tell that he's a little hitchy whenever he's trying to. He doesn't trust him. Not only doesn't trust himself, he doesn't trust that there's going to be protection ever.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to throw it early. He's trying to throw it late when he has time. I'm just asking you, how much do you think that's affected him with having just the inability to know what his offensive line is going to do every play?
I think that pressure is the catalyst for any quarterback. You know what I mean? Especially for a young quarterback, that's definitely the case. You want to know that you have protection in front of you so you can make the read, especially a Max Johnson where we know we're not trying to push the ball deep outside. We're not trying to push the ball deep down the field. So it's even more, to me, it should be even more of a concentrated effort to, design plays to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Get the design plays to get the ball, because we're not going to drop back, play action, roll, and ask him to throw the ball 50 yards down the field. That's not what he's built for. So I think the concern with him needs to be, okay, how can I get with my coaches and get these few plays, however many plays that's designed a certain way for me to get it out of my hands this certain way, because I can't continue to drop back and he can't continue to do that.
But I just got one more thing to say, because when you look at the Joe Brady offense, I got a bunch to say. But when you look at the Joe Brady offense and how that was predicated on was a bunch of deep throws down the field. How many times did you see Joe Burrow hit Jamar Chase down the field, or Terrace Marshall on a deep crosser? Like, if Max Johnson's not built to do that, then you have to change the offense a little bit. Like, that's not the same Joe Brady offense that was brought in.
Well, I know everybody called it the Joe Brady offense, but it was somebody's before his. And the thing about it is, not saying that we don't have the players for it, because we do, but we don't have Joe Brady.
Right. You know I mean, like, seriously.
Or Joe Burrow.
I mean, at some point, isn't talking about the past, doesn't that become a problem in a locker room?
You gotta let it go.
I mean, you gotta let that stuff go, man.
You gotta, even Coach Orgeron talking about we looking for Joe Brady. You know what I mean? You gotta let that go.
Right. I mean, it was almost like tonight on the broadcast, the color commentator was like, Orgeron went to Joe Brady and said, since we can't have you, who should we get? Right? And it was like Joe Brady made the hire of the offensive coordinator, and that, like you said, I mean, you can go hire somebody's brother, but you're not getting the guy.
Well, and then the thing about it is this: it's the thing that's special about Joe Brady, besides having Joe Burrow that year, was also the fact that an offense, you can learn an offense, you can learn philosophies and techniques of an offense, but what you can't do is imitate or mimic the person, the individual who they keep talking about is Joe Brady, and you can't mimic his mentality. You can't mimic the way how he strategically goes about calling a football game, how he sets up plays, how he sets up formations, how you can't go about that. So when you say the offense, of course you could get the playbook on what was being ran and played, but it's the individual and the mindset of who's calling the play that makes it special.
Yeah. When you see Johnson, and we say just the fan, the untrained eye of watching football compared to yours, says he looks confused out there. He looks like he's running into the blitz rather than backing out of it to see the field. What is going through his head, in your opinion, that is making him?
Well, I just think Max right now is not comfortable with. It showed last week, and I think it showed this week as well. Even though I think this week they were a little bit more shortened, as far as like where he was going. It took some of the responsibility off of him as far as like sliding the line and things of that nature. But he's a young quarterback, man, and
What responsibility did you have early in your career? Like, what's the first thing you do when you break the huddle as a young quarterback?
Identify the Mike linebacker. You identify the Mike linebacker.
That's not the center's responsibility. That's the quarterback.
In some offenses, it is the centers, and then some offenses it's the quarterback. And when I was in New England, it was the quarterback's responsibility to identify the mic and also to point out the side adjustment for the wide receivers.
Did you do that for Jimbo?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Every time you see somebody pointing, that's every time you see the quarterback pointing, usually the wide receiver to that side supposed to point back to let you know he recognizes who one pointing at. Yeah,
we're on the same page.
So if those two guys come, now he know he's whether
he's the hot.
He's the
hot. Whether it's a slant or out, whatever it is, the looky, whatever it is, but he's the hot. And that's what we was missing last week.
Uh-huh.
We missed the hot all damn week last week. I mean, hell, they was coming off the right, we was looking left.
Yeah.
So and we did it a couple times this week, but I was just like, dude, last week. I was so surprised that they was even giving him that much freedom. You know what I mean? Like the freedom to do anything, really. Call it, point out the side adjust, you take your step, the point. And it's even easier now because it wasn't even so much shotgun back then. Now it's more shotgun. You in the shotgun shit, you see them exactly where they coming from. You know what I mean? So we got to get like a lot better at that and fast.
Yeah.
Like real fast.
Right. Because I'd imagine on film that stuff looks like
it's
blood.
Yes.
That's like let's
it's like
eat.
chum, dog.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
chum in the water.
I mean, look how vulnerable they are to this.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like you.
I mean,
it's like you on Seal Island out in Africa.
It can't swim.
It can't swim.
But you got to get in the water. You know what I mean? Like, son of a bitch. What are we going to do here?
And it feels like Max feels that way. Like I feel like he's even since week 1, it's felt that way for him.
His feet are happy. His feet are happy, and as a quarterback, that's what they want you. They want you to get to that point where your feet are happy. You don't know you may know where you're going, but you've taken so many hits. You've gone through the course of the game where you don't know where they're coming. You heard Max say, last game, I identified 10% of the time.
Oh, God.
And tonight it was better. But you still didn't have it was a different caliber of talent.
But it was almost like he snapped to his reads immediately. It looked like he was in practice mode to where he knew where to go with the ball, and there was no eye manipulation. It was boom, bang, snap, throw.
Well, I think tonight you saw him, and that was the feel the whole week. Okay, this is what we think they're going to be in. We're going to this side. Look to this side first. Nothing there. Go. That's the feel I got from tonight's offensive philosophy with him. They was trying to get the ball out of his hands quick, but it was times tonight where you saw him look to one side and then have to come back to the other side, and then it was like, okay, let me now go. And that's what you do when you're trying to now process the game instead of reacting and playing to the game.
A couple of bright spots on offense tonight. I believe Jack Besh, every catch he has made in the first 2 weeks have resulted in a first down. And I'm not bullshit. Like I think every time he's touched the ball, it has moved the chains. Cade York, bro,
Sebastian Janikowski.
Is he a second round pick?
No.
I mean, is he a second or third round pick?
I won't put. Listen, you know how I feel about kicking.
I do.
So
he respects one.
Poor sons of bitches, bro.
There's one.
I mean, Adam Vinatieri.
Man, I don't know. I mean, listen, the kid carving him up from 56 consistently.
What's the Todd Poli's stat?
12 for 14.
I mean,
12 for 14 for over 56
I don't know.
yards.
I don't know if the 12 or 14 is more impressive or the rest of the field.
It's the rest of the field.
I mean,
he's the only one doing it.
It's unbelievable.
It's definitely the rest of the field.
I mean, when you get that number, let me know.
The 12 for 16, the 12 for 14 is stupid.
Is beast.
That's stupid.
Right.
56 yards
and game winners.
That's stupid. That means that's I don't know. That might be more impressive because it says more about him.
Yeah, he's knocking him down.
That's pressure, baby.
What a weapon.
No.
What a weapon.
Don't
in
let
college
Coach Joe
football.
know because we're about to run it 15 times and get inside the 50.
Right. Toss lead.
Yeah, kick it.
I mean, it felt like a Les Miles game tonight.
Phone
boring,
box.
Here it is.
So boring.
Here it is. I'm sorry. Cade York this is per Todd Poli, so you know it's absolutely
this is spot on.
This is the
spot on.
Guinness Book of World Records
LSU
here.
Jesus
Encyclopedia.
speaks.
Yes.
Everybody kneel.
Cade York now 12 of 14 from 50 plus in his career. All other Tigers 28 of 91.
Wow. I mean, like
He's made almost half of everyone else and missed only 2.
That would be a big loss to Alabama if Will Anderson is out. But Bama rolls today, obviously, over Mercer and goes to 2-0 in the season. We'll get to some of the rest of the SEC scores. A classic in Lexington tonight that Kentucky held off Missouri in a mad dash towards the end. But both teams look very formidable. That's going to be a tough visit for LSU coming up in October. And Arkansas beat the brakes off of Texas tonight in Fayetteville. They rushed the field in Fayetteville tonight, which, look, it's been a long time since they've done anything good in football. God bless them. Sam Pittman's got them going in the right direction. And if you're LSU, you look at Arkansas and say, my goodness, that does not look like the matchup that you want.
Hey, Arkansas's offensive line looks good.
And that's who he is. That's who Sam Pittman is. Sam Pittman's the best offensive line coach in America.
They went Coach O. They did the same thing. Master recruiter that knows his specialty on the line play.
Yeah, but I would say that Sam Pittman was more of a refined offensive line coach than Ogeron was a defensive line coach. More Ogeron, more the motivator than Pittman.
Yeah.
Hey. Motivator and recruiter. Right. Cali hangover, baby.
It's still there.
It is still there. Biggest concern after week 2 is it still the offensive line?
It's the offense. It's the offensive line is all connected. The offensive line, the offense. I mean, you know, we say it all the time, and it's getting proven now for us, meaning LSU. You could have the greatest quarterback, the greatest receiver, but if that line don't play and can't go, nothing goes. And right now, in order for us to, I mean, now I look at it now. Early on, I was saying 8-4.
Oh, right.
I mean, now it's tough, man. With what you saw from what McNeese brought to the table, with how they. And they didn't control the line of scrimmage. I know they got beat bad, but that wasn't a showing from the offensive line or from the offensive side of the football that going into this week that you would have expected to see. You would have seen it. You would have wanted to see a more dominant performance, even if it was just I'm going to run the football and play action, throw the football, or I'm going to run the football and I'm going to get the ball out of my hands quick. Nothing. It seems like whatever. I know what the game plan was, but the game plan was not executed, and it wasn't because we didn't have the players or we didn't have this. We're just not it right now.
Yeah. Lloyd, find me an early line on LSU Central Michigan. Ro, let's play a little game here, just for fun's sake here on the postgame show. You say 8-4 at this point. Let's roll down the list and tell me what you think. Just after 2 weeks of competition, these can change every week.
Right.
LSU 1-1 on the season right now. After the second week of the season, next week they host Central Michigan, and Central Michigan 1-1. They lose by 10 to Missouri early on in the season in week 1. They roll Oral Roberts, somebody today, 45-0. Robert Morris. This is Jim McElwain, former Florida head coach, Alabama offensive coordinator. He has experience in this spot. Remember, he was the Florida head coach the day that Florida was here, that Darius guys went the wrong way. This was Ogeron's interim season. He has played spoiler in Tiger Stadium before. Does he have a chance, in your opinion, next weekend?
Absolutely. Absolutely he has a chance. He has a chance with familiarity. He has a chance because he's a good offensive-minded coach. And he has an opportunity because of where we are right now as a unit and as a program offensively. So this is the thing. If anything goes wrong early for LSU, meaning they get up, something
turnover,
goes wrong, whatever goes wrong. Then now you get into that mindset of here we go again.
Sure.
So that here we go again shit sits in, and now you have a coach like him on the other side that understands momentum. He understands what's going on. He understands where the program is at this point and where he's catching them. Then now he comes through and now he wants to mash on the gas. So of course they got a chance. I expect LSU to win the football game.
Okay.
But absolutely has an opportunity. Every team left on the schedule, in my opinion. We was talking about it earlier before we got on here talking about, man, everybody has an opportunity this year. If LSU don't tighten up on the offensive line and tighten up with as far as like what we're doing offensively and what our mantra, what our message is going to be, what we're going to hang our hat on. If we don't get that tightened up soon, it's going to get real crazy and real ugly here.
What do you think at running back? I like the two freshmen. And that was a tough break for Armani Goodwin at the start of the game to go down with it looked like he got rolled up on, but him and Corey Kiner, in my opinion, looked the best tonight. Huh? TDP had some good runs.
He had that great, that great run to kind of get kind of the offensive kind of going, because we were stagnant there for a second, and you didn't really know what they were going to do passing the football wise, because like I said, Max Johnson he's still a little tick late. He's a tick there. But to get kind of TDP going was nice. But that run to Armani Goodwin, and the sad thing was, it was just a toss.
Yeah.
And where was that? Like, is that what it really, like, that's what y'all practiced all week? That was what's kind of like head scratching to me, just like, let's just work on a toss play.
The backs, man, I don't.
But Armani's got a little juice.
Yeah, he's big, strong, fast.
He's got that quick.
Yeah.
He's got
big,
that
strong,
one more.
fast.
He's got that extra gear.
Yeah. And I don't. And that goes back to the line as well. I mean, that goes to the line. It was a simple. You're right. That play was a simple toss play. And what you saw in that was you got hat on the hat and guys getting downhill after the backers, after defense. No one was waiting and catching. Everybody was coming through the line. That was the one. You know why? Because on toss plays, you've been running toss plays since the inception of football.
Right.
So guys know where to go on toss play. Yeah.
There's no hesitancy about who to block and what to do. I did this in Pee Wee.
Exactly. And if you get back to shorten it down and giving them more things like that and continue to expand as the season goes on, or as they pick it up, but you got to get these guys reacting, man, instead of thinking about what the hell they doing.
Yes, it seems even more after week 2 that LSU's got big concern heading into next weekend, especially around the offensive line. But defensively, tonight, I thought that they did show some improvement, obviously, with the kicking game. That was something that improved as well. I tell you what, Ro, but when you look around the conference, I mean, the conference is going to be as competitive as it's been in a while, man.
That's why I said they're in trouble.
Right, and there's really nowhere to hide.
No, you can't hide.
On their roster. I mean, TJ Finley looked good today with Auburn. I know that Auburn, this was a pretty weak weekend for college football. Biggest game of the weekend, Oregon beats Ohio State in the Horseshoe. Iowa beats Iowa State in that matchup of top 10 teams. As we said, Arkansas rolled Texas.
You, Stanford Steve, and your
at home. But for the most part, everybody in the conference really kind of did what they were supposed to do. And like we said, that Missouri-Kentucky game, very impressive in Lexington. I mean, you look at LSU, September 25th at Mississippi State, October 2nd, Auburn, October 9th, Kentucky, October 16th, Florida, October 23rd, Ole Miss rolled again today. Alabama on November 6th. November 13th, you got Arkansas. UL Monroe gives you a break on November 20th, and then you finish up with Texas A&M, who today, I know you and I were talking about it, Texas A&M lost their starting quarterback early in a game against Colorado and had a young quarterback come in, Calzada, and they hang on to come back and win a tough game in Denver Broncos Stadium, 10-7, against a very motivated Colorado Buffaloes team. Even though it was ugly, those are the games you got to win.
I agree. And Colorado isn't
They got a good roster.
Yeah, Colorado isn't terrible. But to lose your quarterback that early, it says a lot about, one, the depth that Jimbo has accumulated on that team, but also when you win a game like that, like we talked about earlier, you could easily lose a game like that. So for them to fight through the adversity and to come out and win that game on the road was very impressive. And now what happens is them coaches got to earn their money, baby. Jimbo them got to earn their money now. They got to earn their money now, and he got to get the young guy ready. And that's what he does. He gets young quarterbacks ready to play. He plays to their strengths. He works to their strength. And now you're going to have the team. You're going to see what kind. It's so much building, man, in college football and in sports. So much building, because now, you're going to see what the rest of the team, how these guys prepare and get ready to go to support the young quarterback that's now coming in. So it's impressive. But listen, LSU, in order for us to get to where we want to be and to where we want to be, I think everybody knows and it's clear that this isn't a championship season.
Right.
Which is where you want to be in the conversation every year. But in order to get back to that big picture, and I mean consistently, not just where you win it one year then fall off for the next few years and all that bullshit, where you're consistently in the conversation, is years like this, man. Is years like this where everything's on the table, where everything's up in the air, coaches' jobs are on the line, all this, everything, because we talking about all that. So everything's on the line. This is the year where you got guys and they have to take ownership. You have younger guys that have to take ownership, and you have guys that have to say, okay, this is where we're going to steer, and we're going to go back in a different direction. Just
to dovetail off of that, is this not, if LSU is going to struggle through the early part of the year and maybe gets it rolling, is this not the opportunity?
No doubt.
Because everybody's toppling in the original top 6, you know? Like, Giants are falling all over the place, and like you said, before the season even started, Jordy said, if they lose the UCLA game, all of your goals are still in front of you. And if LSU can get this thing, I know it's not the popular opinion right now, but if LSU can get this thing rolling, there's been so many losses early from teams that you would imagine to be good, that there's an opportunity there just to kind of get this thing right, and you're in the mix. Like, it doesn't have to be, and I'm not talking like, you know, playoff, but at least you're in the mix with like an Oregon or an Ohio State that's lost to.
You're going in the right direction.
Exactly.
No,
like, it seems like it seems like everybody but Alabama is kind of weeble wobbling a little bit.
Where is this Florida State game at? Is it over?
That's what you have to say to that?
No, but I mean, look, I hear you on that. I mean,
but I'm just saying, it's crazy how everybody seems a little bit out of position just because it's a new year. It's so weird.
The thing for me with it is like, if you're not playing for a championship, and I'm not just speaking like of a playoffs or, you know, national championship. I'm
like an SEC title?
Yeah, if you're not playing for that, or you're not in the conversation or nothing like that, then it's like, then your goal, once that's off the table, your goal should be to improve your football team and to get your football team that much closer to those goals.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if that's not what you're doing, and then what are we doing? Because at the end of the day, you want to be in that conversation every single year. Like, we talk about Alabama. The reason why people in Louisiana and we hate Alabama is because Alabama's in the conversation every year, and we're in a conference with them every year, and we got to beat them to get to where we want to go, and everything goes through there every time, anytime we want to do anything. So that's why. And things like that, to me, don't upset me. It upsets me that we're not that way, but it doesn't upset me because I understand how hard it is to get to that status, such as the Patriots, such as the Bulls with Jordan, such as, you know, these teams that the Duke universities that dominate basketball. It's very hard to sustain that level of excellence. So that's where we want to go, and we're proving it because we've been there for a few years. We'll win a championship, and then we'll go dip a little bit, but we're never consistently all the time in the conversation. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we look at our Alabama the way we do, because that's the measuring stick every time.
Very frustrating place to be.
Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill, and it rolls down every time.
A roller coaster of highs and lows of college football, and when the highs are there, you could be the best college football team ever, but the lows could be
so
where
frustrating.
you're just lost and can't find anything that you're looking for. It is a long season. There is still time to figure some things out, but when you're 2 weeks out of the starting block, some of the things that look like are haunting you, I've just said, I don't know how you fix bad offensive line play without a waiver wire, without free agency, without being able to upgrade your personnel overnight. I'm not here to take shots at college kids, but it just, when you look around the league and you look around the play on the offensive and defensive line around the line of scrimmage, LSU is just very underwhelming at that position, and it's tough to overcome that when you look around and see I mean, even Mississippi State, I know they were playing NC State tonight, but I mean, just controlling the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And they're going to have something for LSU. You know what I mean? They're going to be ready for LSU, even Auburn today. You know, I mean, I know they're not playing anybody. They're playing Alabama State, but I mean, it's...
But, I mean, you use that as a measuring, like you said, measuring stick, and you'd say LSU didn't play anybody
exactly.
when they played
McNeese,
and it wasn't impressive. Like, that was not an impressive win. There were people that would... What would you say the score was before the game even snapped? Like,
no, I totally agree with you. That's why I said that this was supposed to be a more dominant performance to... Especially, I look for it from the offensive side, and I just didn't see that improvement I was hoping to see. And the offensive line, and it's not to take anything off of them, but when you learning new and getting new terminology and you getting a new coach in and all that, it takes a little while. You know what I mean? It takes a little while offensively all the time to gel quicker than the defense does. I just didn't see the going in the right direction. Yeah. The blowing people off the ball, that aggressive nature that you want from your offensive line. And that's the thing for me. It's like it's not so much because the technical stuff, all that could be fixed. Stepping in the right direction, hand placement, things of that nature can be fixed. But mentality and just like when we talk about nastiness, having that swag about yourself, and you would think you would have that with so many guys that you have coming back. And I know they're shuffled in and everything is just crazy right now, but you would think with that many guys returning, guys that have played that many starts under their belt, you would think that even the guy that you've brought in to add that depth to that position, that thinking on that side has to change.
Alex has a good question, and I was wondering that again tonight because I thought this would have been something that would have been easy to clean up, and that's something that you would have seen an improvement between weeks 1 and 2. Why is it taking so long for the play to get in and the snap to get off? Again, a couple of drives where the play clock is well within 10 seconds, sometimes within 5 seconds before the ball is snapped. I mean, I thought, really some of the principles of this thing is to be on a tempo, kind of pushing and keeping people on your heels type of attack.
And to you and Alex, that is a rookie play caller that's still trying to figure out what his guys can do and can't do offensively. And he's also trying to come to grips with what he's trying to come across as and what kind of play caller he's going to be. So I think that right now we're in the midst of just having a rookie play caller and someone that hasn't called plays before and going through the growing pains of that as well.
The only way to grow as a play caller is reps, right? I mean,
it's the same as a quarterback.
You can't fake it.
Same as a quarterback. You just got to endure it, deal with it, and hopefully it gets better faster.
And that's why I think your opinion on Nussmeier, even though he looks like a very talented player, I mean, at some point you're going to get the same thing. You're going to have the same type of growing pains with a young quarterback.
Absolutely.
If it's going to be Max or it's going to be Garrett, so you got to grow with one.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the thing about it is you don't want to hurt the guy that you chose to be the guy by showing now that you don't have any confidence in him now that he's going through whatever pain. And trust me, we ain't going through no growing pains yet at that position. There's so much more to come and so much more to overcome before you start reaping the benefits of it all. You know what I mean? So it's still a lot to go through with them. The coaches still have a lot to fix, a lot to stick through. Us as fans still have a lot to see before you see the best of all of these guys, especially from the quarterback position. They're young, man. It's a young football team.
Are you fired up for the NFL tomorrow? Do you watch the NFL?
Yeah, I watch the damn NFL.
Which one do you like more?
College.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you think of Brady and Dak?
I just
that
wanted,
was awesome.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, because I'd imagine that he sees the execution at that level. Like, that's how it's supposed to look.
Awesome.
That was almost
Picasso
like
paint.
It was almost like a perfect football game, right? I mean, it's like
Tom would have played a perfect game if the interception that was tipped off the running back's hand. That
Leonard. He threw it a little hot, right?
No, Leonard should have caught that.
Yeah, he hit him in the mouth, dude. I mean, that thing was a zoom.
I ain't trying to hear that. Leonard should have caught that.
I mean, quarterback talking.
But they were balling. Dak was balling, which is my dog.
Dak
was
looks like an MVP. And Brady, so does Brady.
Balling. 12 was smooth, man. It just, from what you see from him, man, you just see that experience. You just see that he knows what the hell is going on. He knows where they coming from. He's seen the story. It's like he watching us. It was incredible. His ball placement. I mean, them weapons. I mean, as long as they keep him upright. I saw a crazy stat on him. He 7 games last year. He had never
got touched.
Had a sack, I think it was. And they're 7-0, and they won by like 17 every time with something crazy. So. You keep him. I mean, it was the same thing with him in New England. I mean, you keep him upright, you're gonna be in a football game.
Yeah. Right. Would you like to be a play caller? I know you call plays at 7-on-7, but that's different, right?
7-on-7.
Because you got to throw it every game. I mean, every down,
easy.
right?
Yeah. I think I would. I mean, later on, yeah, I would. It's not. I like the what I like about the whole thing is the chess match, the chess game, going back and forth and seeing. I like in-game substitution. I think those are the real
tells.
Yeah, I think coaches that could really do that could really
substitution or adjustment.
Adjustment. Fuck substitution. Adjustment. The ones that could see the first series or the first 2 series. And just if it's a third down involved and it's third and medium, and they see third and medium meaning 3rd and 5 to 7 or whatever, and you see, 3rd and 3 to 6, and so now you see, on 3 to 6 they bringing the safety here, they coming over the top. This is what I need to do, and they call that shit, bring them over to the sideline, draw that shit up, and go back out, and then on the next third, the same situation. Boom.
First down.
Yeah, like that's what I like about the chess match between offense and defense, and that's what I like. And the coaches that are really good, that's what it is. Ain't no damn halftime adjustments. It's in game, and it's not just in game after the first quarter. It's in game from the onset, because you could come out and the team comes out in the defense on a certain formation that you put out there, and you have no idea that they were going to do that. But that's what they're going to do, and that may be their game plan for that formation. So now you're not going to wait till halftime to change that shit. You're going to see if they do it again on the next third down, and then on the third one, I'm going to have something for that and something for that.
Who's the best play caller you ever played with?
Play caller? Wow.
Did you play for Charlie Weiss?
I did. Charlie was good. Josh McDaniel was good. Jimbo was good.
All different schemes, too.
All different schemes. Absolutely. But all understood. They all were good play callers, but the one thing that they all had in common, honestly, was the fact that they always went to their strength. We always went to the strength. And whether it was whatever the matchup was, it was never like, let's throw something new out there and see if it works. It was always whatever was we practice, whatever the scheme. Now, we might have drawn something up, like I said, in-game substitution, in-game adjustments. But when it came down to it, they always stuck to their principles and philosophies on what they believed in. And 9 times out of 10, it worked, man.
When you talk about in-game adjustments, is there anything to that with like the check with me that you see with LSU doing? Seems like they're going to it like a little late because you see the play clock run down. But is that what they're trying to do? It's obvious.
Well, I don't know if it's even a check with me, but even if it is a check with me, it's coming in way, way, way too late. Because when you want to give them a check with me, and for everybody that don't understand, a check with me is a run. A check with me with they give them 2 plays. Basically, it's 2 plays, and the quarterback has an opportunity to either call a run play or a pass play based on what he sees from the defense. And you have to get that in with quarterback that we have inexperienced. You got to get that in with at least 18 seconds on the clock. Honestly, at least 18 seconds. And I mean 18 seconds where he's walking out of the huddle and seeing it. You know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, he has a dummy call, so it's a false said hut just to see if they move, to see where they are or wherever. And now they identify that. Now he has to now tell the line and everybody whether it's signals, whatever to do. And for a young quarterback, that takes time. You know what I mean? It takes time for him to process. It takes time for him to see it. And then it takes time for him to deliver the message to the rest of the team and now get the snap off. So, but it's the growing pains we're going to go through with a new OC that hasn't called the plays. Not a new quarterback, but a quarterback that's only in his 4th, 5th start, something like that. So
4th.
That's what people forget, man.
Yeah, you do forget.
They got very comfortable with that. He was just a starter because you saw 2 games. And it's like, well, it became that he's the incumbent. It's like, bro, he's only played 2 games. One against one bad Ole Miss defense, but they gave him the, I guess the cachet after that Florida one where he's like, oh, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's going to step in and win the job, and he did.
Right.
But you forget that he hasn't seen everything.
Right. I agree. And listen, he's going to be fine, man.
Yeah.
Like, Max is going to be fine. Everything that's going on with him right now is
fast.
Yeah, and he's
happening
young.
so fast in front of
and
me, man.
He's young, dude. Like, it is. It's warp speed right now.
I mean, just
nothing slow.
lasers in front of you, man.
Dude, and that's when you can see
What
like
am I looking
Nussmeier where he
at?
hasn't even noticed it yet. He's going in there cockstrong, going, well, why don't you just throw it around?
Right.
It's like, bro, he feels the weight of the world on his shoulders. Like,
he don't sling it. Nussmeier gonna sling it. That's
because he doesn't know any better.
That's exactly right.
I tell you what, when he was rolling right and put that one on Jeray Jenkins, that was a
seed
dime. I mean, his first 3 passes were dimes.
That's the thing.
And I'm not trying to create a quarterback controversy.
Don't you worry, it's already created.
I'm with Ro. Yeah, but I'm with Ro. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist, man. And they don't have a quarterback controversy.
Right.
They don't. But Nussie's the first 3 throws are just like
he's excited.
Dimes.
No, he's excited.
Did he not do everything that Max Johnson hasn't? We haven't seen Max Johnson push it down the field. First throw was with non-route.
Right, just
let it rip.
Yeah.
That's what makes people excited. Like, that's why there is like a little. I mean, everybody is saying, I mean, look at Nussmeier. It's easy to do when you're up 3 scores.
Central Michigan's going to be a game.
He's
faux spread that I found deep web 18 points, which is too
LSU?
many. Yeah, it's too many.
What is it?
Lock in.
Yeah. So that can't be right.
Throw this week's pay on Central Michigan.
This is the same place I get my high school lines from. So I don't know if it's factual or not.
If it's 18, jump aboard. Jump aboard.
It's gonna be.
What was it tonight? 38.
38.
Well, whose spread was that?
LSU.
Vegas.
Wow.
What was the final? They scored at the end.
The thing about it is what like we got to.
People are tuning in for our information. What was the score?
We got to get better, dog.
Yeah.
We got to get better. That's like I'm more. I
it's
thought
concerning.
The offense. It is concerning. I thought the offense would look a lot better than we did tonight. I thought you would see a more effort towards running the football but I mean, I saw why that they went away from it. You know, we couldn't push anybody off the ball. McNeese was doing a lot at the onset of twisting and turning and doing, because they knew they had to.
Yeah.
They knew they had to. You got to. And we didn't pick them up well early. And it just, we may have picked them up better early, and then it was just downhill from there.
Did you see a lot from him, I would say, Max Johnson's ability to, because they were, like you said, twisting. They were showing a lot of pressure early and backing out and kind of rolling coverages. But I think them being able to get to the line of scrimmage early and, hey, you do the faux clap, they were kind of showing themselves because they didn't do any of that against UCLA. They got to the line so late he couldn't go, on 2 or like fake a clap and get motion going. I think that was a big difference to be able to help him identify.
Especially whenever they got to play into him on time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they gave him some time to go ahead and work it to see. But him having the ability to come. The other thing they did tonight too, man, they took some of that away from him too. Because, I mean, hell, last game you saw clearly him redirecting and identifying and doing that was not working.
Very uncomfortable for him.
Very uncomfortable. And I was shocked that they gave him that much flexibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. You don't give that to some seniors.
Yeah.
You know, so for him, I don't know whether or not that was him trying to take some responsibility off of himself as a play caller or just that's the philosophy of what he does. But I think clearly you saw tonight that he reeled him back a little bit. You know what I mean? So that was good, but I still don't think that from a standpoint of how you want to look from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah.
Shit,
yeah. Have you watched a lot of college football? Have you watched a lot of it?
I watched enough.
What has stood out? I mean,
that you got to have an offense. You have to have an offense in college football now, and you have to have the ability in some form offensively to change the field, whether it's a fourth. You got to be able to create big plays. You got to be able to create chunk plays. Yeah, you can't sit there and think, not with these defenses and these pass rushers and these shutdown corners the way they are now. You're not going to be able, there's no more 10, 12 play drives, and that's for, you got to be able to create explosive plays. That's the biggest thing that I see from the first 2 weeks.
Alabama, clearly the best team in college football. I mean,
it's almost disheartening. It's almost unfair.
I know they didn't play anybody today, but they looked like they were supposed to. And you got to see a little bit of their roster. And we were talking about their third-string quarterback. I mean, this guy, is it Milroe?
Milroe.
Milroe?
Fastest guy on the team.
Is the fastest guy on the team. And I'm telling you, in 2 weeks, over under, they got a package built in for this guy. And Bryce he's fantastic. I mean, I think he might be the Heisman
winner.
Yeah, he could be.
I do have one quick thing I want to ask, Ro, because you talked about
Bryce is a monster.
How easily these offenses are getting people open.
Yeah.
When you look at what Matt Corral does, there's no way his processing power is better than Max Johnson. It just seems to be that the offense is so simplified that he knows exactly where to go with the football, almost at all times, as opposed to what they're asking.
And Corral been in that offense a little bit.
Right, but they're asking Max Johnson to do so much at the line, and Matt Corral's going up there and being like, let's go. I know where I'm throwing
it. He's only got 4 plays.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly right. But, I mean, it says to be something. I think that's a little too simple. But
we saw that last week.
Yeah. But it's a lot to say in the maturation of the guy who's calling the signal, and it's Coach P.
Yeah.
And
Mangus.
Yeah. So it's a lot to say about that. So we're dealing with a young quarterback and a rookie signal caller. Now this is maybe one of them times where you might want to bring in the old ball coach. You saw him looking in from the back, right?
I saw Insminger.
Yeah, that was
creeping.
You saw him back there creeping, lurking. He's lurking, baby.
Just kind of, hey, just let me know.
Hey,
let me know.
That's what we're dealing with right now, and it's going to get better. It's going to get better because it can't get no damn worse. You understand what I'm saying? So it's going to get better. Coach is going to get a better philosophy. Max is going to play a lot better. The guys aren't going to drop. We had a bunch of drops tonight.
Bunch of
wide
drops.
Receivers too. So
bunch of drops.
The drops are going to get better. All that's going to get better. Right now, I mean, I didn't think anybody came into the season and said we're going to win a championship, which is where you would want to be, but it's not right there. It's not there right now. You know what I mean? It's not there. So continue to build and get better. That's what you do as a football team. You continue to build and get better. Now you won this week. Now you got another different animal next week. You continue to build and get better. Get guys healthy. Get the philosophy going. Get the quarterback on the same page. Get Coach P's on. That's what you continue to do as a football team as coaches. That's all you can do right now.
Welcome in. I appreciate you being here on the post-game show. You'll see here the drum is wide open and it is for sale. It is open for business. Ro is against the blue couch. He hates the blue couch. He wants new threads. He wants to totally overhaul the UDL as far as the look goes.
What you want?
With the furniture. He loves the retro. Don't let me speak for you, big fella. What are we looking for here?
Listen, man. We looking for, first of all, this for sale.
The drum's for sale.
Drums out.
The drums for sale. Not the actual drum is for sale.
Drum.
This piece of real estate is open for business to sponsorship.
This is open for sponsorship. Here. All you businesses, all you
food would look great right there. Gear would look great right there.
Raw papers.
Just whatever, yeah, sure, whatever you're looking to promote.
Liquor distributors.
Yes.
All you gotta look beautiful, centered right here in the middle of it, right here. Now, to all you furniture, what they call
makers, furniture, sellers,
owners,
traders, collectors.
All listens for sale. All listens for sale. We looking to get them brand new sponsors in here and we need some couches, baby. We need to get them new couches in here, and we looking for velvet, baby.
Velvet.
We're looking for
velvet.
The Cavassier.
Yeah, right.
A little velvet action. You know, a little pop action.
Yeah, man. I mentioned some leather. Maybe some leather. Ro went velvet.
Nah, we don't want leather. We want velvet.
We do want some color.
We want color.
We want to keep the color.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That Lussie couch.
So we're open for business. The DMs are open. Katie, our business manager, she was at the game tonight.
We talking about appearances and everything. So listen, we work it all out, baby. Let's go.
We are absolutely
first come, first serve now.
Open to moving this show on premises. If you're looking for a post-game show, I'm looking for somebody like with a roof deck tonight. Somebody that has outdoor. Absolutely, no names.
I know the manager.
No names.
Big Red, holler at me.
But we are definitely open for this post-game show because we're going to be here every week, and we're going to start doing watch parties in the fourth quarter going into the post-game show. We'll be here to answer all your questions for the post-game show. In fact, if you have any questions, jump inside of the chat app. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on JordyCulottaShow.com and ask questions about anything that you saw tonight, anything coming up for the future quarterback play. We've talked a lot about that tonight, talking about Max, talking about Nussmeier, talking about the play calling, talking about some of the struggles on offense. Some things can be overcome. Some things maybe calling in for a long season, but as Ro was describing, you can take this and make it advantage LSU by just improving your future and recognizing who's going to be playmakers, who's going to be in, and get these guys quality reps. That's why, I mean, even though I know that McNeese is not the competitive standard that you'll be going up against coming up in a few weeks, you still want to see these offensive linemen out there and playing just for the ability for them to get the reps and chemistry next to each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then it's not just that. It's just you want to build a culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to build a culture. You don't want to have a culture of, okay, we're going to be up and down, wondering this. We're going to come out against a McNeese and not establish an identity. We're going to come out against a UCLA and lay an egg. We're going to, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. Like we saw A&M do, and you seen Clemson and Ohio State and all these teams do over the years. When you in a situation where it's supposed to be a down year for you, you come out of it. You know what I mean? You live up to the expectation or surpass the expectations, but you beat the team that you're supposed to beat. You beat it convincingly, and that's was the UCLA. And I hate to go back and harp on that, but the UCLA game is one of them games where you want to see all those things happening that's going on. But good football teams, programs that sustain, they win those football games.
I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but what do you make of the coaching right now?
Oh, subpar. It ain't putting me in no spot. That's subpar. You know what I mean? Subpar, especially offensively. Defensively, it was what it was the first week, but you saw them take steps. You saw them shore some things up. You seen them having guys play some guys that they were wondering about and play some guys. You saw them put guys in position. I think defensively made a huge leap tonight, even though, like you said, it was McNeese, but still, you saw him in position. You saw him energized, actually. You saw a difference in the energy offensively than you did from the defensive guys. The defensive guys was upbeat, turned up, lit up all night. They was ready. You know what I mean? Defensively, offensively, of course, it's more everyone's in tune, you know, one coordinate and all that, but at the same time, you just did not see. You saw some things that they tried to do, moving the pocket, getting max outside, and those things, changing the launch points, things like that. But you just did not see enough, in my opinion, enough creativity with that. You saw him try to get Booty on a couple of the tear screens and things. He's a monster.
He's so good.
But I need to see more concentration on what we're trying to do. And I think that also, we talk about the offensive line, and I think that also confuses the players when it's not a concentration on where we're trying to go and what our philosophy is.
There's no identity.
Who are we?
Yeah,
I mean, like, when you've got to have, I mean, did you see Oregon today? Oregon scored on the same play 3 times against Ohio State, and they needed a 4th down late in the game or a 3rd down late in the game, and he faked it and threw off of it. I mean, you've got to not, like, this is who we, when you got to have a play, when we got to have 3 yards, when you got to score, when you got to have this play.
Yeah, like
this is who we are.
15 and ran the sweep,
the jet
or reverse
sweep.
Or something.
They won the jet sweep within the 10-yard line tonight. I mean, it almost felt a little Matt Canada-ish.
Well, no, it would be Matt Canada if you were going to show that motion every time. This was just like, oh, I have this play called. Like, there was no structure built around it. Like you said, when it's Oregon, like, they have fakes built in for that. That was just jet sweep. Like, we got a jet sweep called. It's like, okay. But this is something that they're probably prepared for because you've shown them nothing other than you're going to give the ball to him. Like, there's no reason to prep for a fake off of that. Yeah. Like, it was just like, all right, here's a jet sweep. You know, there's just no identity built into this offensive. Yeah,
let's see.
Yeah, sure, might work.
And I mean, that's where we are right now. That's where we are right now.
It's like they're still trying to find playmakers.
Well, I don't know if it's trying to find playmakers as more of him trying to find plays. You know what I mean? Like, I think he knows who the playmakers are at this point. We've seen a number of targets go to Warren's way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Bash was included tonight a lot more.
Cool.
Yeah. I think he knows who the playmakers are. I think, we get caught up in sometimes, okay, they're coaches, they've been coaching for this long, they've been running this for this long, so they should know what they're doing. But when you haven't been in that role, it's a totally different animal. We may not see consistency, and it doesn't mean it's consistent and we're winning, but it may be consistent in where he is and where we are offensively at the time based on the maturation of him as well. Because, dog, we not just waiting on the quarterback to catch up. We waiting on the offensive coordinator and the O-line and everybody else to mesh too.
Wide receivers too. I mean, behind Butte, I mean, everybody has got just...
They're just not in sync yet.
Well, that's my thing. So, but based on where we are with what we've seen and based on what's coming up in competition,
that's
the problem. There's no,
and they can knock you off, man.
Well, there's no time for you to. It's no games for you to like. There's no bunch of McNeese or a bunch of what I mean.
Your trial period's over. It was tonight.
Over with, dog.
Because Central Michigan's going to come here and punch you in the mouth.
No, everybody has an opportunity now based on where we are.
Central Michigan's coming with a mindset that they can win the game.
Exactly. They're trying to get stripes up.
Jim McElwain is telling his guys, fellas, been there, done that. We can win the game.
What you see on film is what he's going to do.
Exactly. What he's pushing is, you want to change Central Michigan football? You want to change the thoughts around... Do you want to wake up on Saturday morning and be the headline of the entire country?
Do you want to be legends in this town forever?
Exactly. Like, do you want to be the class? Do you want to be the guys to, you know what I mean? Like,
you want to be that Appalachian State in Michigan.
Exactly,
like, you'll live on forever if you go into Tiger Stadium right now.
And it's the prime time for them to come in here and eat.
Yeah. Good thing or a bad thing, LSU losing to Central Michigan going into SEC play?
Terrible.
No, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Hell no.
He's toast if that happens.
Hell no. Losing going into a SEC start of the SEC March is not good. I know I hear people say losing when it doesn't matter if you're a championship caliber team and it's just a blimp. And like, damn, we just dropped the ball.
Yeah, we didn't get off the bus tonight. Right.
We not in that position. So any loss is not good. any loss at this point, because you're going to get losses. You're going to play some people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, they're coming.
Getting a loss against the damn Central Michigan, hell no. Mm-hmm. There's nothing positive about that. Yeah. Nothing. They get a loss against Central Michigan, dog.
He's in trouble.
Don't get back on the bus.
Boy, that hot seat going to be like you sitting on a volcano.
Going to Starkville.
You hear me?
I mean,
going to Starkville.
I mean, with Auburn on deck.
Dude, it just gets worse. It's murderer's row, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, but the only reason it's like that is because of what we've seen. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to have not played these games and lined up against Western Michigan and lined up against Mississippi State going forward with what we know, the talent that we have and all that, we wouldn't be thinking like this. It's based on what we've seen and where we are right now in week 2 of our season, and we just don't look good. We don't look good at all. And it puts you into that mindset of, hell yeah. Anybody come in this bitch could beat us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's no team that you could look on there based on what we just seen that you can just say win. Oh yeah, that's a win.
There is no W left. Monroe.
You can't. No, you can't. There's. I mean, you.
That's it.
That's it.
There's nothing on there where you can say, okay, it's a win. Now you can say, okay, they kind of played. We're in the game.
Sure.
But you can't just say not based on what we just saw.
There's almost more automatic L's than automatic dubs.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt about it.
Which is terrifying.
No doubt.
I mean, if you're the head coach or any just a part of that team, that's an awful spot to be in when you're looking at the rest of the schedule going, fuck, man.
And like I said, man, I mean, honestly, for me, all that and I'm going off of what I see. I'm not going off of what the hell the potential is and all that, because if we go off potential, hell, we in the national championship, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But so if I go off of what I've seen, the only thing that gives me like a real hope is 2 things. One, I think that all of Max Johnson's deficiencies are him being a young quarterback, dealing with a young play caller that hasn't called plays before, and I think that could get fixed, and I think it gets better as the year goes on. But the only thing that, in my opinion, that I think that we can really realistically look at to say, okay, we may have a chance is if the defense continues to improve. Yeah. That's the one thing. If they continue to improve and now starts to get some turnovers and now starts shortening the field for our offense, and but I mean, as going this week, it doesn't give me much hope after the 2 weeks of football.
No, it does not. And that was, in my opinion, that's what gave LSU the attention in the preseason, was the ability of defense. You had the name recognition in a guy like Stingley. You saw Mike Jones tonight.
Yeah.
Mike, I mean, you can see why he moves. I don't know why he can't get on the field. I mean, I understand that he's not built to play a middle type position, but I mean, he's athletic and can.
You know what I don't understand about that too? What does that mean?
Yes. Thank you, bro.
What does that mean? I'm not built to play the middle. Devin White's always in the middle. These Quan Alexander, these guys are always in the middle. All these guys, the middle linebacker position is no longer big thumping guys. These guys are run athletic that could cover. What is Mike Jones? Run athletic that can cover. It's so bizarre to me when you hear this, when coaches say, well, we just don't know where he fits. You fucking went and got him.
Yeah.
Like, he came here and you knew he was coming here, and he was a fantastic player before he got here. So why all this mantra in the offseason about him coming, what we're going to do with him, utilize him, this and that? The kid ain't just stop running and covering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And tackling.
I mean,
it's so bizarre to me when I hear that. We didn't recruit, what's the kid at you, my boy?
Christian Harris.
We didn't recruit Christian Harris because, we didn't know if he was a safety or a corner.
Take him.
Or a linebacker.
Take him.
Christian Harris is going to be a top 15 pick in the upcoming NFL draft if he stays
healthy. Award winner.
He's one of the most fantastic linebackers in college football.
And he's on your campus.
And we did not know where to recruit him.
The roster. put him on the team.
I mean,
we'll figure. Don't even tell him that. Like, yeah, wherever you want to play.
It's
mind-boggling.
Really and truly, I say this stuff because I hear coaches say it, and I don't want to sound like a dipshit. I mean, it's like, hey, but like deep down, you're like, well, what? He's a football player. Like, just play the guy.
You
like,
good?
I mean, like even like Corey Kiner last week at UCLA, put him in the game, let him run, let him go, man. Just put him out there, let him go. It's just
Armani looks like a stud.
Yeah, he does. He does. I'm glad. I was glad to see he got back in the game.
Absolutely. He looked like he got rolled up bad.
Yeah, it did. I mean, that was kind of. It almost kind of looked like it snapped him. I mean, that's a big old dude.
I thought high ankle as soon as I saw it, but that looks like it could be a little bit of what that LSU offense is missing because Corey Kiner runs kind of the same way Todd Davis-Price does. John Emery, God knows when. I mean, I doubt we'll see him the rest of the year. I mean, it feels like that's over. But he has that extra gear that's punch. A little, where he's got that something that punch, where you can go outside and you can flip him the football. Like, that's what LSU's run game was missing because the other two guys are run between the tackle guys. And that's not what the LSU line is built to do. Like, get that guy in space and see what can happen.
You know, that's the other thing, man. I think that when you look at this offensive line is a movable offensive line. So when you ask them to
like last week, you see some of the images. I mean, they were dancing with them. I mean, they were just
roller skates.
They just were moving them wherever they wanted to put them.
Exactly.
It's like they were on ice.
Exactly. And so the scheme that you want to implement with them running the ball, just like you pointed out, it was a simple toss.
Yep.
And take them where they want to go offensive line and let the back make the cut. You know what I mean? Stretch them and read option them, whatever, and take them wherever they want to go offensive line and let the RB make the cut. And that's whenever you saw those, they were very successful, man. It at least gave you an identity. It at least gave you an opportunity to get down here, get hat on the hat, and give yourself an opportunity. Well, now we're running straight ahead with these guys that don't want no part of the physical football. You know, so that goes in with what you talked about with trying to fit this one scheme against another scheme. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is, man. I mean, it's
play them to their strengths because they're not going to be able to bully anybody. If you can't bully at UCLA, like, you're not going to be able to bully anybody in the SEC.
It's amazing. It's amazing how fast in college football, in the sport, really, not in college football, in just the sport of football, how you can go from being a physical team to being soft, like literally, like soft. I mean, LSU.
If you don't have an identity,
it's a mentality.
If you don't recruit that,
right?
If you haven't installed that, if you haven't been there that way, you would never say that about Alabama.
Ever.
You would never say that these guys just look soft. They just look, because now it's a mantra, it's a mentality now. You know what I mean? Dude, I give you an example. Me and my partner Ken was talking. F3, shout out to F3, Ken NEO. We were talking because he now works with those guys. He works with those guys at Alabama, and he was telling me a story. And this is how, you know, when fans and people think that coaches don't make a difference, or coaches is players. It is players, but the coaches give them the direction and everything. He was telling me, he was sitting down here, he's working with our linebacker, Christian Harris, big boy. Oh, they got a monster that just left, transferred from Tennessee.
To you high?
Oh my God, Jesus!
We went and watched Jaden Alsbury last night. He's a beast.
Oh Lord,
he's a beast.
That's my guy. You know, that's my guy.
Yes, indeed. He's in Michigan tonight.
Look, he was telling me a story, right? Christian, kind of story about when he first got to Alabama, freshman year, and they were at might have been the Outback Bowl, some shit like that. Wasn't the national championship?
Yeah.
And freshmen and rookies was all happy. They had a bowl, happy. And forget who the linebacker was, the defensive back, was pissed off. It's like telling them, like, the hell y'all rookies laughing about? This ain't the fucking national championship. All our buses aren't wrapped. Our gifts aren't the best gifts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he was telling them, like, yeah, y'all, I don't know where you came from or what university or if you used to winning, but we used to be in the national championship here. We don't want to be at this. Them boys they turned down stuff at that, like.
No, we ain't taking it. We're not taking this home.
Yeah.
It's beneath us.
And see, when you have
a standard
that
we live up to,
you have players that are juniors talking like that, the incoming freshmen, because they think, woo, I'm so happy I'm here. Yeah. And they let them know, like, nah, dog, we done played in the national championship the last 2 out of 3 years, dog. Like, this ain't nothing. You understand? So don't get happy about this bullshit. Get happy, and I'm not saying bullshit.
Leave that gift.
Exactly.
We ain't taking that bullshit.
That's when you know you as a head coach have gotten through.
Yeah. Well, your locker room runs itself.
That's exactly right.
You don't have to put up with nothing. Nothing's coming across your
police
desk.
Themselves. That's right.
Nothing's coming across your desk that you have to deal with the bullshit that other schools are dealing with. It's a machine. It just keeps rolling. Everybody's got their lane. Everybody knows their job.
They know it. Yeah.
Everybody knows where they fit in. Everybody knows the responsibility, and it doesn't feel like that at LSU. I mean, it feels very topsy-turvy. It feels very kind of week to week. What's it going to be? What's it going to look like? Because you heard last week that why weren't they calling screens? Why weren't they calling running outside? And within the first 15 plays, that was there. So they heard, not heard, but they saw what could work. And then they just totally are just swinging and throwing knives and throwing darts.
It's them trying to figure it out too now. Because remember, they got a whole new staff. Yeah. They trying to figure it out too. Ain't no preseason and all that, so I give them that. The thing for me is just get an identity, man.
Yeah.
Don't just listen to this, listen to that. Get an identity and get it right. So. If you have a play caller that has a plays and this and that, well, against a UCLA team, against a McNeese team that you should dominate the line of scrimmage, let's try that first. Let's do something that plays to the strength of our ball team and not just trying to see what works, because there has to be something that we do well.
Right.
We just don't know it, but you guys have spent enough time with it to develop this alternate game plan that, okay, this isn't what we do well, but this is the game plan. Okay, well, maybe throwing, like, even for me, looking at the football game for the first 2 weeks, looking at our football team for the first 2 weeks, I know a couple things that we do well. I know a couple things that we haven't tried that we could possibly try. I know that when Max catches the ball and we're in a 3-by-1 set and Booty is on the backside and he's the only single receiver on the backside, I know that 8 out of 10 times, you're going to get help over the top with him over there. So I know that I'm going to get off coverage most of the time to my 3-by-1 side. So let me just go ahead and work the hell out that side with my quick pass routes, my quick, until they come up and do something else about it. If I got a dominant offense, well, if I'm playing against an inferior defensive line such as I was tonight against McNeese, well, it clearly ain't working for me to do all the complicated shit that I've been doing with them. So let me get, like you pointed out, Liz, let me get simple toss play. Let me get a simple stretch play. These guys know that they're stepping right with their right foot first, getting the hat on the hat, taking them where they want to go, and let one of these backs, and if this one doesn't work, I'm going to put the other one in. If this one doesn't work, I'm going to put the other. But let me at least establish the offensive line. Like, let me establish the rules of the game that's going to get me closer to victory, which is the offensive line and the defensive line. When you recruit the fucking positions, you recruit the offensive line and the defensive line to start your team. That's what all the great teams, all the teams in college football that's been standard around and around, the offensive line and the defensive line is always solidified. And that's one of the reasons why I was so happy about this year with guys coming back because of COVID on the defensive and offensive side, because I thought it was going to give us an opportunity to get these guys back. They're not going. You got the guys that should have been coming up behind them. Now they're developed. Now this, now that. And it just has not, whether it's injuries, guys not panning out, whatever it is, it's just not working out.
One topic that I think deserves to be discussed, you got to be a little checked when you talk about it, is overall, the physique of this team does not look like SEC top-end talent, and it does not feel like LSU. And I think that there are a couple of players
about the
that can easily you can easily point out. But just all in all, I mean, bro, even like the early days when
straight mesh.
I mean, y'all were the all airport team, all bus team. Like, I mean, like, I know you weren't the first one off, but I mean,
me.
But you played next.
Just snap me the rock.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, he was a gamer, bro.
Yeah.
He didn't practice. He didn't practice.
Little sort of day,
just let me know when the lights get on, man. Just let me know when Tennessee pulls into town.
We in a dome? Is this a SEC?
Right. Are we in the purples or in the whites?
I'm ready to go. Okay.
But it just, I mean, is that fair? I don't want to say names, but I mean, there were a couple of shots tonight where you're like, oh my God, is this a rec league team or is this LSU? I don't, they look out of shape. They look don't look.
Ignore.
I mean, I know Alabama's always the comparison. It's not even like they don't look like they don't look like Ole Miss.
Man, it's because we're looking at them damn kickers, dog.
And the hurt quarterbacks.
I don't want to say any names.
Shit. I mean,
Corbelli.
Are we kidding with that?
Listen, I'm not gonna be.
You should have to roll that thing up.
Get him a hoodie.
I ain't gonna lie, we talking about the damn
kicker.
I'm off of it. I'm not doing it. But
and the quarterback.
But
I guess the bigger question is,
I mean, you know, the Miles is credit.
They told him put on weight.
They told him put on weight.
Well, I mean, my man ran with it because
he's got wrinkles.
Listen,
he's got wrists that look like ankles.
Listen, I'm not gonna talk about nobody.
I mean, either, bro. I'm not. That is a dangerous.
When I was at LSU, dog,
in the mesh,
right? And with the mesh,
and his helmet was almost.
With the mesh,
so squeeze that thing on there.
Get in there.
I wasn't tripping. I was just waiting for the lights to come on. Once the light, you know.
Absolutely.
That's it. But yeah, we gotta.
It just doesn't look right.
Nah, you're right though. But even
like Ali Gay.
I know.
Like Ali Gay's a freak, right? Like he's the Barkevius Mingo, the Arden Key. I mean, Arden Key, when he got off the bus, people were like, holy shit, that is a pro. You know what I mean? Like Michael Brockers, when he got off the bus, people were like, son of a bitch.
I mean, Mingo looked like he came from outer space.
That is a pro. Daniil Hunter. Ugh. I mean, Patrick Peterson. I mean, these guys getting off the bus. I mean, Gerald Hawkins, even at offensive line. You know what I mean? Like, the obvious ones jump out, but I mean, even just these guys, like, where is the dog? Ed Ingram is the dog on the offensive line.
They're a lot leaner now.
Thank you for being very kind.
Guys are a lot leaner, man. That's all.
Run their stadium
like Mason Smith feels like LSU.
Ooh, Lord, Mason Smith.
Mason Smith feels like LSU.
Mason Smith feels like any college.
Yes, he feels like everybody.
He wants to go to.
I mean, like in the pros.
No, I know what you mean.
They call LSU the jungle because it's a bunch of freaks down here. You know what I mean? Like you come down to LSU and you're like, damn. I mean, like look at Racy McMath. This guy doesn't play. Whew. And I mean, like he is just the all tournament team. You know what I mean?
That's the all bus team right there.
The all bus team, absolutely. First off, and he don't play.
Yeah,
he don't even play.
He's running down on kicks.
James Wright don't play. He looks like that. He's a pro.
True that.
You know, I mean, those guys. I mean, we've talked about that with LSU baseball over the past. They look like a bunch of Sigma Chi's out there. I mean, LSU football doesn't feel like. It doesn't feel like the freaks anymore, man. It doesn't feel like you got 2 deep, 3 deep of just guys that you're like, son of a bitch, this guy is a Debo Jones is covering kicks as a junior. You know, you're this guy can't play.
He's collecting checks out there. But just to go against you for a little bit, I would say the freshmen do. Jack Besh looks like he belongs out there.
Brian Thomas
looks like a junior.
Thomas looks
he looks
the
like
part.
a first-round pick.
Brian Thomas looks the part for sure.
Damone Clark looks the part.
Armani Goodwin looks the part.
Yes, like there's guys out there that do, but there's
Garrett
some
Nussmeier looks the part.
There's some that don't.
There's just
it's not.
Okay, bro.
The punter got you.
I mean, it got me, dude. Like,
Punter.
And it's the 18.
Corbello.
Corbelli.
Corbelli.
He liked it.
I got Corbello.
What game are you fired up for tomorrow? What's your pro game?
Crazy. Hey, the Saints.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Damn Saints, baby. It's Jameis time. It's Jameis time, baby.
3.5, dude. That's a scary number.
What number is it?
3.5.
Saints?
Vegas knows.
Bay?
Something.
Green Bay?
Yes.
Green
Bay, yeah.
I kind of want to take the Saints.
I'm fired up to see the Saints tomorrow.
He's going to fling that thing all over the field.
Who is the best quarterback in the league?
Aaron Rodgers.
Is it Mahomes? No doubt. No?
It's Tom. It's Tom. It's
Brady?
Tom.
Yeah. Who won the Super Bowl? If you talking about who's the best talent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if we talking about who's the best QB, it's who won the Super Bowl.
Who's the most technically sound quarterback in the league? Who's the most fundamentally
Is it Tom again?
sound quarterback? Probably so.
He's up there.
Did you
Probably.
see?
Because you know why? These are the times you're more fundamentally sound. When you first get in the league, early on, because you're trying to do everything that you're being coached, and when you're at the end, because you're not
hanging on,
comfortable.
Yeah,
and you still got
some
some talent.
I gotta rely on
That's
my.
exactly
I gotta rely
right.
on my technique.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely up there.
Did you see Tom call that slip to Gronk whenever he audible?
Yeah.
Then he was like,
Did you see?
Gronk,
Did you see?
slip?
Did you see on the
So
third
good,
down when
dude.
he sent the play back to Byron Leftwich?
And he said,
On the
no.
good one, he goes, "Fuck no, fuck no," and then he said, "Yes,
Okay.
yes."
It's like a pitcher, dude. Like when the catcher puts a number down and he's like, "Fuck that, dude. Give me the fastball."
What is his halt? What is?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, like,
He knows more than he does.
who the fuck is gonna
Right.
say
No,
no?
I mean,
Tom Brady.
Bruce Arians tapped out last year.
Super Bowls, man.
Bruce-
You
And that's when
kidding
he started
me?
winning.
Bruce Arians was like, "Go ahead,
Yeah, exactly.
take it."
Tom's forgotten more
Take
offense
it.
than they know, for real. Cause the teaching and the way, like, is different, man. That shit in New England is different. So the amount of response, like when I get dude, when I got to Arizona, I left New England. When New England cut me, I got to Arizona. When I got to Arizona, and we talk about the responsibility of the quarterbacks. When I got to Arizona was like fucking elementary.
Was that Carson Palmer?
Yeah, it was it was what's the boy name, man? Who are all the kids?
Kurt Warner.
Him.
Yeah.
It was Kurt. Great quarterback.
What's all the
Better
kids?
person. Great person. Kurt. It was Kurt.
And even Kurt Warner at that
Dude,
point in his career
Kurt
didn't
was
have.
tearing that shit up.
Yeah.
And
He threw for 40 touchdowns.
The reason Kurt was tearing that shit up was because the quarterback had no responsibilities. The quarterback didn't identify the mic.
Was that Bruce Arians?
No, it was no, hell no.
No.
That was damn. What the hell was that OC man? I know the head coach was Denny Green.
Okay.
The OC.
Was it Wisenhunt?
Nah. Was it Wiz?
That was good. Like that was Matt Leinart now, wasn't it?
That might have been
2004
Wiz.
to 2006.
That might have been Wiz, yeah. Because, see, my predicament with that was I was there. I came over from New England competing for the backup job, but it was me, Kurt, and John Navarre from Michigan. And they drafted Matt that year. Matt was holding out.
Okay.
Matt was holding out, and I was balling. I was competing. And Dennis Green did not want a quarterback controversy because Matt's contract was getting finished, and they was getting ready to bring him into camp. So now it got down, and Arizona was one of the only teams that actually carried 3 quarterbacks. So it came down to me and John Navarre.
He couldn't play.
John Navarre was sorry as hell.
He couldn't play.
Honestly.
No controversy. Give him a clipboard and a pencil.
John Navarre, wow.
John Navarre
He's a
streams.
good person.
No, but he streams 18 for 20 for 115 yards.
Where did you go after that? Was it over?
I went to Cleveland. I went to the Browns for a little bit, but then yeah, that was it. As far as the NFL.
What's it like when football's over for a football lifer? For somebody like you who made a living off of football, what was it like when you finally said, you know what, I don't know if I'll ever take a snap ever again in my life?
Depressing.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you over it now, or is it still?
Yeah. No. I'm over it now. But
did it take a while?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Especially when you young. You know what I mean? It's different if like you. It's different based on your mentality, I think, when you get into the league. Because I was in there for 4.5, and you go through and you see a bunch of people come in and out and in and out. So for me, it was always wanting to go in and leave a mark. It was always wanting to go in and do something. But when you get in and you see how the inner workings of that shit is,
turns you off.
Yeah, not just that. You just know that like some of the things and the ways that you are being pushed to conform, and the things that, you know what I mean, that you may not be down with, that you now got to do. It's just all that bullshit.
Sell your soul a little bit.
Yeah, it's all that. You know what I mean? And so the only people that's comfortable with that, dog, is the people that's established, and they don't got to worry about feeding their family, and they don't got to worry about making a team, and they don't got to, they basically they good. You know what I mean? Now, other than that, it's always some kind of eggshell controversy. It's always something.
Keith Rowan or Alex Wood were the two offensive coordinators.
Rowan.
He was there for 2 years.
Rowan. Yeah.
That is 90 minutes of a post-game talk here of LSU McNeese, baby, going through it as LSU will be hosting Central Michigan next week. We'll be here in the same place doing the same stuff. Remember, the real estate of the drum is for sale. If you have anything that you would like to promote before next week, our DMs are wide open.
Doors
here
for sale.
On Doors for sale. Everything's for sale here on this post-game show, as Rohan will be here throughout the season. We'll also have a fourth quarter watch party with you. Are you on tomorrow? You and I? You doing y'all back doing y'all's thing on Sundays?
We're back, man. Me and my dog Jimmy. We up tomorrow from Magnolia Blah.
Jimmy's sweating some games right now, baby. Ain't no doubt.
Jimmy. Hey, let me tell you, boy, Jimmy be picking some shit.
Well, I mean, he plays the board
shit too, Jimmy. Yeah,
he plays the board. Everything is open.
Everything open.
Love you, bro. We're gonna kill this, man. Rohan is here every week with us. He's also with us throughout the week, so we'll be talking earlier this week on the show. So make sure and tune in. Thank you for interacting with us. Couches.
Velvet.
Drums.
Velvet.
Back with you next week.
See ya.
Are you silly? Oh.